What's up, guys? It's your boy Taff from GeekAfrique. So this is going to be my first video of 2022. It's been a long time coming. I have been trying to formulate a solid idea of how to work it and just generally trying to get my stuff together. And I already know how we're going to get started. And we're going to just talk about some crazy breaking news. So stay with me, and obviously what you've read in the title, I'm gonna try and fill in all the details as I can as I get them. So yeah, stay with us, guys. This is me wild. So for those of you pretty versed in video game companies and which company owns which intellectual property as such, the big news is Microsoft Studios, or Xbox as a whole, pretty much the company, which is obviously under Microsoft, have just purchased Activision. Now, maybe to some of you this might just sound like nonsense, and you just be like, okay, big company buys other big companies, so what? Well, our lives go on. And in all fairness, it's not going to have too massive an impact on our daily lives, but from a gamer's perspective, this is massive. First of all, the deal was worth 70 billion, which already ranks it as one of the biggest company purchases, arguably, of like the recent history. And second of all, that means massive things. So it does mean that Xbox have taken one hell of a leap forward in terms of trying to catch up and potentially maybe overtake Sony right now. Now, I've seen some other outlets already claiming that Sony are in the dirt because of this, and I just think that's ridiculous. I just don't think, as huge a deal as this is, it's going to completely finish Sony off as a company. Their legacy is too legendary, and it extends way beyond Activision properties. But at the same time, it does include really huge games. We're talking Call of Duty, we're talking Tony Hawk, we're talking the Crash Bandicoot series, we're talking Spyro at this point. I mean, we are just talking some pretty famous IPs, you know, pretty much. Some pretty legendary ones are about to potentially jump ship. We're not sure yet if it's going to be full exclusive. Obviously, Microsoft are going to be tight-lipped about those details for a while, though everyone's going to press. But here's to hoping to see what happens, you know, like, if they do decide to go this way, then Series X might actually be the better choice. And I do say that very lightly, but at the end of the day, it could, from a value for money perspective. I mean, imagine your next Call of Duty game coming day one on Game Pass. I mean, in all fairness, Halo Infinite, as far as I can tell, has been a massive success, and that game was basically given away. So it's pretty big to see what this could all play out to. Another thing I think it's important to discuss is all of Activision Blizzard's recent issues. They have been involved in a slew of allegations. Obviously, nothing's been proved in court, so this is just speculation. But they have been quite a few employee accusations levied against top management in relation to toxic workplace, sexual harassment, pretty much the entire gambit of horrible things to have happen to you when you're at work. So it obviously is a big thing, and it is going to be important to see how Phil Spencer reacts. Another key concerning thing I have about this, besides inheriting all those issues, is the fact that, you know, ultimately they've decided to keep the CEO on board, and he was named as pretty much a big factor to a lot of the issues that have been plaguing Activision Blizzard right now. Also, they have pretty much just been sitting on their recent properties. I mean, we've all just been like waiting to find out what's going on with Diablo 4. There was that Diablo Immortals debacle, that was just terrible. Call of Duty's pretty much just become a stale dead zone that no one's interested in anymore. So, well, we're talking more like Vanguard, and obviously the later offerings on console and PC have just been poor. I mean, it's not crashing and burning as hard as Battlefield 2042, but that's a whole different story. That literally needs a whole video to itself as to why that game's a failure. Actually, yeah, if you can and you have gotten this far in, mention in the comment section if I should talk about the Battlefield 2042 problem. But pretty much as it is, it just feels like we can only hope that Microsoft decide to make some moves to improve, obviously, the situation. And there you want your developers, living their best life and being treated as well as possible while being able to be as efficient as possible. Try and minimize the need for crunch culture. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that, things get a bit too hectic, and we've had a few too many mental breakdowns in the industry for them to keep going. And just generally, we're just hoping that this is them basically saying we can turn this company around, we're going to save all your favorite properties. And granted, a few of them were doing fine. I think Crash Bandicoot is still pretty much top of the line. I think if they decide to release Crash Bandicoot 5, it would be a smash hit, no problem. And obviously most of the other Activision based properties are doing alright, but it's mainly Call of Duty, I would say, we're all concerned about it, and we're all going to be watching. The free-to-play offerings are doing okay. Obviously you really need to maybe try to do something about those skins, and the fact that every so often they seem to keep releasing a glitched skin that gives people advantages. But outside of that, I would say they need to really revamp and rework the entire structure of the mainline games, especially on console and PC. Those have just started to turn into what feels like a yearly zombie fest with people just walking in, and some of them have just woken up and started just not buying the game. This is the first year I can safely tell you I've seen more copies of Call of Duty Vanguard still on the shelf ever before, and even FIFA's outselling it, so that's quite terrible. That's very terrible to note. So I think I want to end this off by looking at the potential. I mean, in all realization, it is a bit mind-boggling, because from a gamer's perspective, you now have to recognize that one company is sort of becoming an absolute titan. The same company that basically owns pretty much a small chunk, but a pretty large chunk of the global share of PC usage, in terms of personal computers, with Apple, if I'm correct, still being the majority. And yeah, pretty much they now own almost all your favorite properties. Overwatch, they own Bethesda, which means they now own Doom. They own Halo as well, which they obviously founded. They own Fallout. They own Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot and Banjo-Kazooie are now officially brothers, according to the Microsoft banner. I can't wait until Microsoft do their own version of Super Smash Bros. It should be the funniest thing in the world. Just Microsoft All-Star Brawl or something crazy like that. But I think one thing that has to be factored in is that because Microsoft is such a powerful company, and because Xbox are backed by pretty much trillions at this point, I think, you're looking at all the resources, everything that they could do just to have that gaming market. They're not worried about absolutely trying to build new games that totally challenge. They're looking at rebuilding good IPs, old IPs, quality IPs. And I think that's a great move. It's a smart idea. Innovation is always the best thing, but sometimes people don't want to let go of the past, and if you can bring it back in a more beautiful, incredible way, it can be just as good as bringing us a new, absolutely genius IP that everyone falls in love with. It may also limit the need for exclusivity, maybe somewhere along the line, so when you realize that the financial muscle that is Microsoft right now is starting to overpower them a bit, may cause them to want to open up more avenues. I mean, God of War did recently just drop on PC, and it has gotten very good reviews. Obviously it was a brilliant game on PlayStation, so it's very good that high-end PC users are going to be able to play it. And obviously Death Stranding also came out pretty well, Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think they're also going to be pushing to make sure that Forbidden West gets on PC sooner rather than later, which means that after its drop next month on the PS5 and the PS4, PC should hopefully get a hold of it much sooner. So it's sort of like that continuous effect of a knock-on, and it's also hopefully going to have a huge impact on the inner workings of all these studios, because they have been struggling for a while. There have been a lot of issues, so hopefully this will bring out some high quality games. There's going to be so many brilliantly made titles that are just going to be worth waiting for. because when you get them, it's just gonna be like my money's worth, you know. It'll be like The Witcher all over again, you know, getting to replay that all the way, you know, like just appreciating it like good whiskey or fine wine, you know, just every drop is, you know, a blessing in its own weird way. So yeah, you know, that's definitely the benefit there, you know, with the financial power of Microsoft, with a dynamic and absolutely relentless head like Phil Spencer. I mean, they are gonna take this market. I think it's theirs for the taking now. And with the model around Game Pass, I just cannot see any way around this. If Sony don't step up and start offering similar things and start pushing as much as possible, I just don't see them surviving in the war. You know, PlayStations will always be loved as amazing gaming machines, but PlayStation games will start being seen as novelties over time, and people will really start feeling like every single one could be a wise investment, but at the same time could also just feel like money out of pocket when you're also getting a incredibly high quality game that you don't have to pay a cent for. Psychonauts 2 is probably one of the greatest offerings, a game I easily could have demanded 1,300 Rand on launch, and it was free from day one in Game Pass. Now, I haven't completely switched over to Team Microsoft, but I can't knock against it. I'm a gamer and I want my access first. And if you're gonna give me that much access for that little, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm probably going to lean towards your offerings a lot more. You know, that being said, I still use a PlayStation controller on my PC. Prefer it. It's your boy Taff from GeekAfrique, and that's just my quick but surprisingly long take on today's news. Anyway, sorry it's been so long since I last recorded a video and uploaded. Hope you guys enjoy, and hopefully I'll have something new out soon. Alright, have a good one.